With only 5 regular season events left, now's not the time to sleep on the season. The PBR's best arrive in Circle City with Jonn Crimber back in the world's top spot, eager to run circles around the rest. Kansas City comes into Indy with a fight on their hands. If they want to make the playoffs, they need a win and plenty of points. Nashville faces a similar scenario, so why not meet fate head on, smile, and nod? The sport's biggest superstars are rested and ready to punch the clock. Heavy emphasis on punch. Everybody's been working for the weekend. Time for PBR to deliver.
Previously on Unleash the Beast.
Our beasts are about to be unleashed in one of football's most storied arenas. Dope gets to witness a whole nother level of ground game and Hail Marys.
This is what laying it all on the line looks like. Jonn Crimber just made an excellent bull ride.
Maverick rises up to meet the moment and sticks the landing. 90-85. Swearingen is in first.
It is so good to see that fire back in Dalen Swearingen.
Well, here we go. Jonn Crimber, number 2 in the world coming into the weekend. He is down at 4. Swearingen conquers them all here in the land of the unconquered, winning his first event since 2022. Everybody knows Indianapolis is a sports town. And for the 5th year in a row, the PBR has brought their best. Welcome to another night on Paramount Plus. Let's take a look at the world standings, because guess what? Jonn Crimber is back on top, but only by a slim 27 points. Sage Kimzey bounced from his leading man role, but he is not consumed with being the target this time of the year. We've got a great night of bull riding on tap. We are really in the final countdown of our regular season before we all head to Texas for 2 weeks that will decide it all. Can't thank you enough for joining us as we start with a bang. Cooper Davis, 2018 PBR World Champion, Kaique Pacheco.
Man, we do start with a bang today, and with this being a classic round, there is no telling what we're gonna see right off the bat here.
I'm glad you mentioned that. For our new fans, Cooper mentions it's a classic round. That means the ABBI have a competition, and it's the young bulls, Coop. It's almost like you never know what's gonna happen with these youngsters.
Yeah, the next superstar could be in this batch of bulls here, and you know, these bulls had to fight their way here. They're in a competition of their own. Kaique Pacheco has a good opportunity of starting us off with a score here, and it being a good one.
Here's a quick comparative for our new fans. If you've got teenagers at home, you never know what kind of mood they're gonna be in. That's kind of like these bulls.
That's about the best way I've ever heard it described, Craig. That is spot on.
Pacheco and Charo. This bull from D&H, never been ridden before, and Coop, as we always say, talking about the contractor side of this, D&H is legendary.
Absolutely. Anytime you see D&H in front of one of these bulls, you know the breeding is behind him, you know the athleticism is there. What is going to be the trip today, though, that Charo has?
Tell you what, Pacheco usually does not take this long in the chute, but that is 100% in this situation because the bull's a little bit itchy.
Bull's leaned a little bit on the backside of this chute. Kaique's looking like he's ready.
It has been a season of inconsistency for Kaique, and unfortunately, Coop, right for his fans, that has contained a lot of zeros as well.
It has, and you know, I don't want to put it all on injury, but dealing with that right bicep injury, you don't see Kaique taking control like he normally does, climbing up to the front, and I think it's got a lot to do with it.
Well, I'm glad you point that out because that was all the way back. Shoot, I've forgotten by now. I think it was New York, right? The second event of the new year, the fourth event of the season. As we move on, speaking of New York, to Maurizio Moreda. He's bucked off 12 in a row tonight facing Popeye.
And when you get headed down that path, it gets really hard on your confidence. You start thinking, do I belong here? Am I able to ride these bulls? We're about to see.
Well, there you go. Unfortunately, that buck-off streak continues as now it is a baker's dozen.
You know, and one thing I've noticed from the first two rides, both of them have lost their rope. So you start to wonder, did they use the wrong rosin? Is it a little bit too dry in here? We'll see.
We start off with some buck-offs, but Coop, hopefully some of your matchups will be qualified rides.
Yeah, a lot of these matchups right here. Brady Fielder with Coach. That is a bull that we have seen in some championship rounds. Sage Kimsey, Dalton Castle, Jose Vitor Leme has a great one. John and Dalen. You know, I think any of these guys could be 90 plus today with the bull power that's here.
Now we mentioned Alex Cerqueda comes in, one of our top 10 riders in the world, number 7 specifically, a little over 275 points behind. But Coop, as we show that graphic, only Sage has ridden as many bulls as him this season.
Yeah, Alex has been just so good this year, so consistent. Had a little bit of hiccup in Tallahassee last weekend, but back ready to go again. Now, this bull's a little bit different. We've seen him more times than some of the other bulls. Should fit Alex all right.
He's been put on the clock. The judges only do that when they feel the rider has had ample time to nod. And if it gets to 0 before he does, it's an automatic disqualification. The clock shows 7.45. Now anyone can hit the challenge button, Alex or someone on his behalf, and he's going to have to hit it if he wants them to look, and that's the sound you hear. So someone has hit it on his behalf.
That's when it's good to have good buddies on the back of the chutes, because I don't even think Alex knew that he was at 7.45. I didn't see anything right there.
Justin Maples, our replay judge this weekend. We've described it this way before. What you want to see from a replay judge, a lot like an umpire in baseball, when they establish their strike zone. You just want to see consistency in the calls.
That's it. And Justin Maples is a great replay judge. You know, he's going to make sure he gets all the angles right here to make sure that his free hand doesn't come down. That's what they're looking at. See if this free hand came down, touches the bull before the 8 seconds. I think he's in the clear there.
This crowd weighing in, they say nay. There was no touch.
Ooh, right there though. That might get him.
So if you see, yep, that red background and thumbs down to back it up, that means the 0 stands. And unfortunately, for his diehard fans, heartbreak.
Yeah, that stings, because he is. I mean, he's getting up front where he's supposed to be. That free hand just comes down a little too low.
We welcome in a new rider next, Jaden Hayes, and we get to talk to Matt West for the first time tonight, Matt, because this is an interesting pairing.
Yeah, we were all talking about it earlier today. What a welcome to the big time, if you will. One of the best bulls on the planet. But I talked to Jaden earlier today, and I said, what do you think of it? With kind of a grin on my face. And he lit up like a Christmas tree with excitement. He said, I love it. I'm not intimidated at all. As a matter of fact, this is the 4th time I've been on this bull. But he was very frank when I said, how'd the first 3 go? He said, not good at all. But this one is going to go a lot better. Let's hope so, guys.
Yeah, certainly fans of qualified ride hope so, but Coop, we add in the drop-down bar there. This is an important out for Ransom, 45 1/4 or better. He moves to #1 in that world champion bull race.
Yeah, this is a huge out for Ransom right here to take the #1 spot in the bull race. And a big out for Jaden Hayes.
Debut event for Jaden. Got here based on winning in Bakersfield last weekend. Looks like he's going to take a little bit more time to wrap. Ransom's ready.
You can bet Ransom's ready. All right, he's on the clock now.
It's a buck off. That much is clear. And that seemed like one of those outs, Coop, where Ransom was just starting to get warmed up.
Yeah, he was just kind of starting to catch everything, catch another gear right there when Jaden Hayes came down over the front. Really interesting to see. 45.6 on the bull score. That's a new #1 bull in the world.
We have a new bull ruling the block. Hello, Ransom. Welcome to your #1 status.
Yeah, and for Ransom right here, I mean, he just leaves the buck and shoots so hard. You're going to see all the power. Jaden Hayes gets pulled down over the front. That is such a special, special bull.
Such a coveted title amongst the stock contractors and bull owners. And Ransom has now put himself in position. That was his 8th out of the season. That is why he is now officially on the board, as we have moved to Ezekiel Mitchell getting in as an alternate this weekend, facing Dirty Bomb.
Yeah, and Zeke, you know, he's had some rides here and there, but he hasn't had that consistency.
Ooh! He takes a big hit as Dirty Bomb short fuse tonight.
Man, I don't like how he's holding that shoulder walking out of here.
That was horn to shoulder contact.
And Zeke was doing everything right. He just kind of kicks loose to get another hold right there, and that did hit him hard right there.
Yeah, he tried to get that right arm down, Coop, and that was just in self-preservation mode. As we're back quickly inside the steel, welcoming back Hudson Bolton. Haven't seen him since Pittsburgh. He's missed 4 events due to rib injury that kept him out of the lineup, facing Working Man.
Yeah, and it's so good to have Hudson Bolton back and healthy. You know, that's the #1 thing with him. He gets on a ton of bulls going up and down the road. Hudson Bolton, he's one of those young guys that has all the potential in the world.
Coop, he got on 3 bulls earlier this week, said he feels back to 100%. He was dealing with some cartilage there in that rib. He saw Tandy Freeman before the show today, and he says, I feel like I'm 100%. I felt like I was when I got on those bulls earlier this week, so we're going to find out today.
And that's a big part of it. You know, you see Dr. Tandy Freeman there. He keeps the guys going up and down the road if there's any way possible. But, you know, for a young guy that's injured, you really need to be healthy at this level, because you do fall into some bad habits if you start trying to get away from the pain.
Bolton, last year's Rookie of the Year, and what a year that was for him. Carried that momentum, didn't he, Coop, into teams as well as the PRCA season, where he tried to become the first man to ever win the PBR and PRCA Rookie of the Year titles in the same season.
Yeah, and Hudson, you know, he's got all the talent like we say, but when you get on that many bulls, you know, it kind of tends to hurt you at points in the season where other guys are healthy and 100%, you're just trying to get by.
He said he was healthy. He just proved he's healthy. 8 seconds of work aboard Working Man. First qualified ride of the weekend.
And it's a good one too, Craig. This is a good, strong bull away from his hand right here. And Hudson Bolton is so technically sound in his riding. He doesn't have to have a certain bull to fit his style. They all fit his style.
This is going to become a big target. 89.9.
Yes, sir. That's how you want to start us off right here. Hudson Bolton, really, really good bull ride.
You told me earlier you felt like you were feeling pretty good. You've got to be feeling even better right now.
Oh, yeah, I don't feel much more better than that. I just got to give all the glory to the Lord Jesus Christ. I had to take a little break off and just kind of get a mental reset and a physical reset, and I feel good now.
Great to have you back. Great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That is his first qualified ride since Salt Lake City, the very first weekend of February. Guess what? Marco Rizzo is in the midst of a career year, and he is very much in the hunt for that Rookie of the Year title that his New York teammate Hudson Bolton, we just saw, won last year. Back in Indy, and if you're just joining us here on Paramount Plus, the target really has been set for the rest of the night. Moments ago, Hudson Bolton, 89.9, a top working man. Speaking of working men, that's how we consider ourselves. 2016 PBR World Champion, 2025 Teams Champion Cooper Davis. I am Craig Hummer. Coop, as you know all too well, right? Wins matter in this sport, but nothing matters more than winning in the world title. Sometimes consistency can get you there. And at the moment, that's exactly what Jonn Crimber is using.
Well, that's it, you know, and he started off the season a lot slower than he wanted to, but it's all picking up at the right time. Jonn Crimber last weekend got the ball back rolling where he wanted it to and made some really big rides. Didn't come out with the event win, but got what he was after, that #1 spot in the world.
Yeah, Crimber, it's been interesting. The only real way he can improve, I think, is if he goes into the championship round first, makes that pick, and then actually wins.
That's it. You've got to be a little smarter in that championship round. Make the right pick and execute.
Well, those are stats enviable of anyone in this sport, but Jonn plans on making those even better by the time we get to Texas. All right, let's fast forward to the end of the evening. It's the last regular season weekend of the Monster Energy Team Challenge. Let's focus on a few teams, right? The ones that can still get in there. You've got Kansas City, Nashville, Florida. Kansas City and Nashville, they control their own destiny.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, and it all comes down to winning. That is key right here for these teams. Either these two teams win tonight, they've got a shot. But Kansas City's got a little easier road to make it, a little less points they have to be able to clinch that spot. Nashville needs 2 scores.
I just want to note their competitors, right? Kansas City going up a winless Arizona. Very surprising, that team, off of how good they were last season. And you guys, sorry to rub it in, right? You're the defending team champions, but you guys have not been able to buy a win this season. Now we look at those team challenge standings, and there are the 3 teams that are still alive for the last 2 spots.
Yeah, and I want you to look at the far right corner over here, or far right. That's what we're looking at. Whoever can come out on top throughout the whole team season as far as aggregate goes, if there is a tie, that is the tiebreaker.
Yeah, we might run out of fingers and toes if we used everybody here in Gamebridge to count up all the point scenarios, but we'll get to that by the time we go off air this evening. Now we're back inside the steel, a guy who has been so good during teams, has won not the MVP the past couple seasons, but has won that riding percentage award to Brady Fielder.
Yeah, Brady Fielder, I mean, you talk about how good somebody is. He was 70% in his riding, and that is something that you very rarely ever see in this sport. Now look down here, 44%. That is a good year and a great year for most guys, but a little slow for Brady.
Yeah, now facing a bull that has given everyone except a couple people fits. Last time this bull was ridden was here last year.
Yeah, and you know, it was a good ride, but you also look back at some of the rides before that, Dalton Castle being the only other guy to ride him, 90+ points. Well, Brady Fielder, that's what he needs today. He needs to step up, put a big score on the board, get that confidence back.
You know, Coop, just because you phrased it that way, I think you're right. Brady needs something.
Just a kickstart.
There's his 8, and was tonight the night where Brady Fielder not only says, "Put me in, coach," but it becomes a different season after.
This is the Brady Fielder that you came to see tonight. Brady Fielder got back up on his legs, took the power away, made a great bull ride, and this could be what turns this whole season around.
We saw Hudson Bolton ride one away from his hand for big. What's this going to be worth?
I don't know if it's going to be as big, but it's going to be pretty close. This is a good bull ride here.
Fantastic ride. I had to run all the way over here just to see how good it felt because it looked fantastic.
Heck yeah, it felt amazing, really. Just glad to be having fun doing what I love.
89.3 is the score. Great job, buddy.
Woo, grateful for that. Thank you.
I would have thought the crowd would have reacted a little bit bigger to 89.3, Coop, because that was close.
Well, the two rides they've seen have been really
They're
great
spoiled,
rides. Yeah.
right? They're spoiled, in other words. Daniel Keeping facing Medicine Red.
Yeah, Daniel Keeping, I mean, he's got a bull that's a little more rider-friendly as far as the stats go, but Dan has kind of slacked off a little bit. You know, he hasn't had that consistency, hasn't been able to put it all together. Well, now's the time to put your foot on the gas as we get closer to the finals. Really start creating that momentum.
And look, it could be as simple as, right, asking him if anything's wrong with him, but a lot like every rider in the locker room, these guys are never going to tell you if they're banged up. And Daniel Keeping keeps a lot on the inside, right? Just the fact that he has not had any qualified rides in 4 events telegraphs to me he's not 100%.
Well, that tells you something. And, you know, Dan Keeping, as talented as he is, you know, that tells you how tough the sport is. See that rope over the top just to keep that bull from flipping over. Safety precaution for both the animal and the rider there.
Quick reminder, half the score from the bull, half from the rider. So you want a bull to be really good. The woes continue for Keeping.
And you know, for Dan right here, the way this bull starts off doesn't really set him up in the best way. Throws his timing off a little bit. You want to hold that front end a little bit more.
He has not had a qualified ride since Pittsburgh.
And like I say, I mean, for someone as talented as he is, that is really surprising.
They continue to take a look at this. Well, now it looks as though there's Dan. One more look at him as we move on to Thiago Salgado. So good during team season for the Florida Freedom, but part of that Monster Energy Team Challenge scenario we're talking about. Jonn Crimber, the Florida Freedom Squad, they do not control their own destiny. They're going to be spectators for this last night.
Yeah, they are, and you know, they're going to be waiting to see what happens. Do these two teams step up and surpass them here? We'll have to wait and see. Thiago, though, has a great bull. They've won, what did they win? They won Pittsburgh on him. Cassio Diaz was a bunch of points on this bull. Should go to the right. Really big, strong kicks. We could be upwards of 90 here.
He's on the clock. There are a few guys that don't care if that clock gets low. but Tiago usually is knotted by now. Well, the star of the Florida Freedom is dispatched easily by Freedom Fighter.
Yeah, and you know, for Tiago, he is so strong to the left. That's why he's so effective during team season. This bull goes away from his hand today, a little bit different.
Our next rider, Julio Cesar Marquez, rode for a couple different teams last season, Kansas City, New York. But Matt, there's news this week that he's headed elsewhere.
Yeah, if you've been following along on social media, you know there was a major trade that happened with the New York Mavericks and the Texas Rattlers. Julio Cesar Marquez, right now a current top 10 contender, will now be a Texas Rattler. I asked his new teammate, Brady Fielder, how he felt about it, and he had a smile on his face like he had just won the round. He said, I'm so excited. Dan Keeping, on the other hand, he said, I don't care who's on my team, as long as they show up, ride bulls, and help us win, I'm going to love them. Julio, I think, is going to be a bright spot for the Rattlers when we return to PBR teams next season.
Facing Black Ops with Dalton Castle holding onto his vest.
He's already on the clock. And I think that was a great move for Texas picking him up.
Block
under on the gate. Sorry,
yeah.
Greg.
We see a third score in the round. Coop, you're going to be able to parse this a lot better than I can, but it was the patience that I noticed immediately, even inside the chute.
Absolutely. You know, he waited to let this bull make the first move, then go to him. The bull is going to be the difference in the score here, but Julio Cesar Marquez, outstanding.
He's watched Gladiator a time or two. You must win the crowd, which he has done, 85-55.
Yeah, and he's just so textbook in his riding right here. Black Ops doesn't have as strong out as the other bulls, but hey, great ride, sticks the landing.
How cool is that if you're a fan and you paid for the expensive seats, right? You get to watch that close.
Yeah, that's as close as you want to get.
Visiting with Felipe Furlong. He'll ride later as we swing back inside and we look at Marco Rizzo. Simon Says.
Well, Simon Says put another score on the board here, Marco. This is a good bull. Should turn back to the right. Give Marco a really good chance. Marco's kind of cooled off a little bit towards his back half, but man, did he start off good at the beginning of the season.
Hey, right, you're absolutely right, factually, that he's cooled off. But how about his ride last weekend on Chief Wahoo?
That was big, and that was huge for him because that bull had bucked him off 3 or 4 times before that. And being able to turn things around and ride one that had bucked you off that many times, that is huge for a guy's confidence.
That's Jonn Crimber, his buddy, holding onto his vest. Forget what Simon says. Marco Rizzo says, tonight's my night.
And I loved everything about this ride here.
World #1 likes it. Yeah, Marco, there's that little thing. You gotta wait for the bull.
It's not over till that bull's out of the arena.
87.3, by the way.
And what I love so much about this, Marco, he doesn't just quit riding when the whistle blows. He rides that bull all the way through the whistle, back the other direction, just to show that he can. Really great job.
You know what we're gonna have to start doing? Now, I know a couple of the other cow bros aren't on the back of the chutes, but we need to start scoring Crimber's ride on the back of the chutes, because he's riding the steel.
Oh, yeah.
This is Lucas Davino. Great to have him back. He returned last weekend in Florida State, promptly finished 8th. This is Firefight.
Yeah, coming back off an injury, and Lucas looked really solid last weekend.
Talked to him about that collarbone. He said he actually got on a lot more bulls this week in the practice pen, really trying to get that strength back in that right shoulder so he can lift on that bull rope. Prefers right now bulls that go away from his hand, but he said, I've just got to get that strength back.
Yeah, and that is super important. You know, when you're riding bulls into your hand, you rely a lot on that riding arm, not so much away from your hand. more balance.
Coop, explain what's going on here with all this discussion.
Well, you see they've got that post in there in the front left of this bull's shoulder. What that does, this bull wants to lean on the backside, gives him a little bit of comfort there and enough room for Lucas to get his leg down. Well, now they got to pull it out.
We've talked about this a lot, but it bears repeating. This season for me has been the best in the way that our whole crew, audio and both video, have shown the communication going on between the riders and the judges.
Absolutely, there is direct communication between riders and judges at all time down there.
I tell you what, Firefight brought the fight this evening.
Really lucky for Lucas right there. He came off his spur, caught his rope. That could have been really dangerous.
Firefight runs his record to 12-1. Well, Sage Kimzey was originally going to stay at home this weekend and rest, but he was winded up to know every ride matters from now until May. He's got gold on his mind. That's two-time PBR world champ Justin McBride. And by the way, just at his right, left side of the screen, hidden by the graphic, three-time world champion Silvano Alves. They coach the Nashville Stampede, and the Stampede's still very much in this hunt for a playoff spot, as are those guys. Colton Hevelo on the left, Casio Diaz in the middle. They are the Kansas City Outlaws. Both teams, a win helps them the most. But Coop, when we look and get to that team challenge, these are some of your favorite matchups.
Yeah, I mean, these are some big-time matchups. Jailer's a great bull. Colton Hevelo got his hands full with that one. On the other end of that, Alan DeSosa, black tie. That's a bull he's ridden a couple of times before, so look for some big things in that game.
Kansas City and Nashville, they need rides, they need scores, they need points. Sage Kimzey, who rides for the Austin Gamblers, used to be our world #1. Well, he knows a thing or two about riding during the Monster Energy Team Challenge, because he and Paulo Rossetto have been the most successful this season.
Yeah, I mean, they have been so good. And, we see Paulo Rossetto there as well. But, for Sage Kimzey, was the #1 man in the world. Came down a little early last weekend, but very much in this world title race.
By the way, while Sage is prepping, they just honored Forrest Lucas, who passed away recently and has been such an integral part of helping the PBR overall, not just here in Indianapolis. So we send our thoughts to his family as well, and our thanks for all the support over the years. Kimsey, meanwhile, this one from JBL Genetics, all magic.
Now, this bull comes from Jose Vitor Leme and a great, great bull. Expect a big jump around to the left right here.
Well, look, Sage is a veteran and knows enough to go hit that button. And oh, the flags are already thrown, so we'll see Sage again.
Yeah, and the reason for the flags being thrown, that bull goes down in the front end, stumbles. You know, Sage is in good shape, but around here, when this bull kind of loses his footing a little bit, goes to his knees, that's the reason for the re-ride flag.
Yeah, and to further explain that rule, again, for our new fans, with half the score coming from the bull and half from the rider, if a bull doesn't do his job on any given evening or day, the rider isn't penalized. He's given another opportunity, which is what we're going to see with Sage.
Yeah, we'll see him on Elmo. That's a rematch for Sage Kinsey. He will be excited about that one.
Now we show Rosetto. We showed them both a second ago as the top guys during team competition this season. Well, Rosetto's been on a bit of a tear lately. Back-to-back fifth place finishes has him #4 in the world. And tonight facing Fat Lip.
Now, Paulo Rosetto's really been heating up at the right time of year. Fat Lip, really good draw for him right here. Got his left hand down today. The only guy that can switch hands, make a bull go into it either way.
And by the way, Rosetto, the main reason Missouri's the #1 seed in the playoffs coming up. Ooh! Well, tonight, Fat Lip throws a few different punches and definitely leaves a mark.
And this is where riding with either hand can really go against you. And we've seen it a couple of times this year with him. When you have your left hand down and a bull goes away from you, he's not used to having to ride bulls away from his hands. This is really scary right here. When your foot gets caught in the rope, you're kind of at the bull's mercy at that point.
Surprising that it's taken us to the 14th ride this evening to thank our U.S. Border Patrol bullfighters, because they are there every single out. As Rosetto now being checked out by sports medicine. Let's hope he's okay. There's Cody Webster, de facto leader of that three-man team, as we take a look at Court McFadden, Rockabilly.
And Court McFadden's actually ridden this bull before, just last year. Good rematch for him.
Court McFadden can make it look oh so easy, as he just did.
Man, he's so good, and he's so good at just letting loose, letting everything fall into place rather than clamping down, making it happen. Court McFadden, for being such a tall guy as a bull rider, he just has that sense of where his body needs to be at all times.
Poopy's gonna like these numbers, 88.95.
Yeah, what not to like about this? This is just a great bull ride. Court McFadden, he's on his game.
You're making it look easy. Does it feel as easy as it looks?
No. Almost couldn't get up off the ground right there. Took me a second.
Well, we're glad you did. Glad you put together a great ride. Good job, buddy.
Thank you.
Maverick Smith facing a bull by the name of I Hate You.
He should like this one.
Maverick Smith turns I Hate You into One to Love as he continues his riding charge. He's now ridden 4 in a row.
Man, Maverick Smith has really turned it on in his back half. That was a good bull ride, but he has been on a heater as of late. Really good job staying patient, letting that bull make the right move, then going to him. Maverick Smith, he just can't seem to do anything wrong.
He was second last week. He scores 87 1/4 here. That is a business walk right there, right? Headed back to the locker room as we're back inside the chute. The veteran, 41-year-old Joao Ricardo Vieira, a late addition to our lineup, time traveler.
And he has got a good bull to capitalize on here.
Handles the direction change. We briefly showed you the graphic. That's some history right there. Not just the qualified ride, but JRV is now tied with JB Mooney for 4th all-time in career outs.
Yeah, just another milestone for Joao Ricardo Vieira here. And, you know, for a guy that's coming in on the backside trying to fight for another World Finals, this is what he needed here.
How about back-to-back 87 1/4? This crowd starting to get a lot for the price of admission.
And for Joao, I mean, that's exactly what he needed.
We have 7 qualified rides in the round. Joao and JB tied in the history books, but Joao's not done yet.
The 2026 PBR World Finals takes over Fort Worth with the rankest 2 weeks in Western sports. The Texas Size Party starts in the Stockyards May 7th through the 10th. Then the battle for the gold buckle and the big bucks will be on May 14th through the 17th at Dickies Arena. Get your tickets now at PBRWorldFinals.com and get in on the action. Well, who's gotten in on the action so far here tonight in Indianapolis? None better than Hudson Bolton, leading the round with 89.9. Brady Fielder, Court McFadden, Marco Rizzo, and then Maverick Smith and JRV tied at 5th and 6th. Julio Cesar Marquez, the newest Texas Rattler, at 85.55. Already 7 qualified rides here in Indy. But guys, I got a feeling there's going to be a lot more by the time we're done tonight.
I'm with you, partner. That is for sure. Our fans would love to see it as well. Coop, another thing that we should mention, right, overall this evening, there's a chance Sage Kimzey could regain the world #1 ranking.
Yeah, he's well within striking distance just in this one round here. You know, a round win plus a solid score will get him there if Jonn Crimber doesn't do his job.
All right, so here's that rematch you mentioned. It was worth a lot of points the last time they danced.
It sure was. 89 and a corner last time these two matched up. Sage Kimzey, I guarantee you, was smiling from ear to ear whenever he seen this.
Elmo can definitely be cuddly for the right type of bull rider.
This bull has a ton of time into him. A lot of fun for a guy to get out on once he gets out there. Sage gonna repull, get everything just right.
Hey, speaking of just right, what do you think Sage's best formula is to win a gold buckle this year?
Well, I think it's when Sage shows up healthy and wanting to be here. I mean, that's all of it for Sage. You know, he mentions how important it is for family time at home. And, you know, anytime Sage shows up, I think you expect him to win.
Well, listen, and this wasn't part of what I planned, but to play off of what you just said, I talked to him earlier. He calculated to the hour how long he was going to be away from home this weekend, and that was part of the reason why he decided to come to Indianapolis after telling Kate for weeks he was going to skip it.
Yeah, 40 hours is
yeah, exactly,
is what he
right?
said, so.
I wanted to press him and say, did you figure it down to the minute? Because it almost seemed like he did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he is methodical in everything that he does.
There was not going to be another easy trip down Sesame Street tonight as Elmo exacts a little bit of revenge.
Man, this is a tough one here because Sage Kimzey, really I figured he would eat this one up, have fun, but isn't quite able to get his hips to his bull rope here. This one gonna sting, letting it slide through your fingers.
And again, with the outs starting to be very countable in terms of what is left in the 2026 season. Of course, every out of the season matters, but the magnitude of these final few weekends seems to be bigger, and that becomes a very big buck-off. Dalton Castle now, who was our world #1 at one point during this season, has since dropped back to 5th, is now facing Geralt.
And Dalton, he's kind of dealt with some injuries himself, you know, had that hip injury, and he hasn't quite had the same form that he did pre-injury.
Guys, you want to talk about unreal expectations? Take a look at the highlighted part of that screen. He is still 5th in the world, and our unrealistic expectations, much like they were for Jose Vitorlimi at one time, we expect him to ride everything. Take a look at the weeks that he held on to that #1 spot. Over the last couple of weeks, he has dropped to just riding 2 out of his last 10 bulls, but talking to him earlier, he still feels good. He still has a smile on his face. Here's the difference, in my opinion, just from viewing Dalton Castle in the locker room. He came in loose, he had a smile on his face, and he was having fun. And we've talked about this before. When Dalton Castle shows up with that attitude and starts having fun, that's when he's the most dangerous.
Matt, you're so right, and I feel like last year at the World Finals, remember, or we all do at least, he was the world #1, tightened up Coop a little bit, and no disrespect to Jose and what he was able to do, but it was a perfect storm, right? It had Dalton ridden one more bull, Jose wouldn't have won the world title.
Yeah, and Dalton, you know, some people like to be the guy in the front, and then you've got the guy that likes to be the chaser. Well, Dalton Castle does much better when he has a goal he's going for, has to go after a guy. That guy right there, though, he likes being the front runner.
Yeah, we're going to talk, by the way, about Jose Vitorlimi a lot more throughout the season. But his back is basically against the wall. Had to use a world championship exemption to get into this weekend, sitting 35th in the world. He's going to need an even bigger run this year than he had last year.
Yeah, really surprising position he's in right now. But, you know, going back to Dalton Castle, when he's having fun and he's not making it a job, that's whenever he's the most dangerous. And to see him walk in today with a smile, I'm expecting big things.
The only thing I wish he would have done different is show up in sweatpants and a hoodie, because that's when we know he's the most relaxed, guys.
That is exactly right. You know, and Dalton Castle, he's around bulls 24/7. He raises his own bucking bulls at his house. He eats, sleeps, breathes bucking bulls, and yeah, he knows every aspect of the game.
And to add, right, to both what you guys are saying and to extrapolate out to World Finals, I think that's what's going to serve him well this year, right? He learned from last year. He's going to stay loose all the way through those 2 weeks in Texas.
That's it. Just don't make it a job. Let it be fun like it's supposed to be, and I think Dalton Castle will be just fine. Because it's not the big moments in the great bulls that scare him. He's the guy when it comes to putting big scores on the board.
It looks like he's going to be given a little extra time. Well, that gives us time to remind you, you can show your passion for the toughest sport on dirt with official PBR merchandise, whether you're headed to the arena, watching from home, or repping PBR every day. The PBR shop has everything you need, from authentic hats and tees to hoodies, jackets, and exclusive collectibles. Scan that QR code now or go to pbrshop.com. Back to Dalton and what he is trying to accomplish. Matt mentioned the futility of late, but the great thing also about Dalton being loose, you would not know it at all when you talk to him.
Yeah, he's pretty calm, cool, collected, and you know, whenever you've got that Dalton Castle running around, it's a different vibe. I mean, he is so calm until those gates open up.
Oh.
This bull's really giving him a fit on there. Kind of squatted in the back end, leaned on the gate. Here we go.
Right at the 8 seconds, Dalton's down, and he's going to get a re-ride, and he needs it, because that bull just didn't have his day, and it wasn't going to be a lot.
Now, that bull was really going out through there, searching for a spot to turn back, just took a little too long.
Woody, you're on the score. You got the score.
Judging from the body language, you can tell Dalton's feeling it a little bit.
78, 5-5. Take the rerun. Bottom of 5.
Billy Cochran working the chutes this weekend informs him the bull's going to be Woody.
Now, he was trying to wait for that score to make sure he's making the right decision, taking the re-ride.
Yeah, it was going to be 78 and change in Coop, right? For a guy of Dalton's stature and caliber, of course you take the re-ride.
Yeah, and you know, made the right move by letting it all play out, seeing what the score is going to be. This is a hard bull to get by. You know, the score doesn't reflect how difficult this was. Get off, though. That was a little bit scary right here. This concerned me a little bit.
Ooh, yeah.
Bull just kind of paws at him as he goes by. Doesn't put all his weight on him.
That's going to bring up Felipe Furlon and Drago.
Bull's been around for quite some time. Felipe, he's had some really good events this year.
That one's over at 2.8.
I'm going to see a re-ride flag here, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go. Now, there was some contact leaving the chute, changed the direction of the bull. Felipe, as soon as he stood up, he was making sure that flag was thrown. Let's look here. Bull hips himself.
Oh, yeah.
Great job by the judges.
I think Webb should put a re-ride flag on each one of his shoes, and then he can just kick them up in the air like tassels.
Yeah.
He's going to face Hermes.
Is it Hermes or Hermes?
Whatever you, well, listen, you're the one that goes to Paris all the time. So, yeah, I'll let you pronounce the bull's name.
All spelled the same.
Or I'll let your wife, mention the bull's name.
That's a safer bet.
Leandro Zampolo, talk about a season to remember. Number 3 in the world. Punchy is the bull.
And I don't care what this bull does. Leandro Zampolo has been so good. You know, he's putting himself in this world title race and kind of the dark horse. But, man, he has been lights out.
He's been a lot of fun to watch week in and week out. Last weekend was kind of his first weekend where he really wasn't a factor in the past couple months.
Yeah, he rode one bull, but, you know, it's a great event in Tallahassee. See what he can do here.
We always talk about how this is a game of inches, and Leandro has to be happy that Punchy did not come down in some different spots.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he comes down right here, gets a little bit behind, made some Hail Mary moves, lost his bull rope. But you are spot on right there. Another inch or two the wrong way could have been a bad deal for Leandro.
Even with that buck off, he has still ridden 10 of his last 15 bulls. Once again, the bullfighters all right there where they need to be.
Yeah, great job by them.
So now it's time for our Busch Light pick of the pen. The bull's name, Short Fire.
Whoa, it's a senior bull here. This little bull, he probably doesn't weigh 1,200 pounds, but he is full of heat, full of fire. Going to be really fast right there to the right. Handful for Manuelito.
Yeah, and Manuelito, a guy who has been able to kind of skim the surface, of being a regular week in and week out, but has gotten in as an alternate a lot of weeks this season.
Right there on that cut line, so he needs that good big weekend, especially as we're making that push towards the finals, secure that spot. He's on the outside looking in right now.
Final's going to be very different, by the way, and we'll talk about that in weeks to come. Still 2 weekends, but the format very different from the past couple years.
See, they've got that board in there trying to give Manuelito enough room, slide his feet down. That bull's kind of in that starting block, trying to beat the rider out.
Oh, and right after he asked the judge to re-wrap, Short Fire helps him out by popping his hand out of the rope.
And that's the one thing on this bull. You know, he's a handful in the buck and shoots. Roy Doyle there.
Yeah, so this is going to be what I would call a complete reset when the rider gets completely out of the chute, and we're actually going to move on to the next rider where they get Short Fire a little more sorted out. Those standings important. We've seen 3 scores of 88.95 or better. Hudson Bolton still leading the round. This is Bob Mitchell, rides for the New York Mavericks during teams. Tonight, atop Wreck-It Ralph.
Kind of a brand new bull. I haven't got to see him at this level yet. Well, Bob Mitchell, he's been kind of hit or miss this year, but one thing about Bob, he doesn't really overthink it. He's going to show up and put the tryout every weekend.
That's true. And that I would think, having never been on the back of a bull coop, but trying to listen to you and others, that's one of the things you start with. If you don't overcomplicate this sport, you usually have a pretty long career.
Look, as a bull rider, we know when we put our hand in the rope, we're not very smart. So last thing we want to do is get in there and start thinking.
Matt, you know what I think he just said, even though he doesn't want to admit it, is you and I are smarter than he is.
Actually, I just realized I'm a bull rider because I'm not overthinking anything, guys.
Well, there might be a little bull rider in all of us.
There's still time for you, Matt.
Not a chance, Craig.
Well, tonight, Wreck-It Ralph not only wrecks Bob's chances at a score, but then tried to take some body parts with him.
He sure did. Tried to knock his chin off right there, and Bob gets a little bit behind on this, and this is one thing I love about Bob. It doesn't matter where he's at on the back of a bull. He's still going to try to make that next jump. Just pays for it here.
It's been a while, so quick reminder, 7 qualified rides in the round. Hudson Bolton was first to get on the board. He was a top working man. It was worth 89.9. That is our standard. We're back to Manuelito de Sosa Jr. He still sits atop short fire.
What they did here, they got that in there before he got in on this bull to make sure that bull got comfortable before he started pulling his rope.
And explain why that post is important for the rider, too.
Well, the post allows the rider enough room to be able to get his leg down in front of his bull rope there. You see that post they're holding on the back side. That bull likes to have his back shoulder on the buck and shoot when he leaves there. No problem for the rider.
Well, you can see short fire already itching to fire.
Looks like he's in a race in the starting blocks right now. He's trying to beat that rider out. So he's got all his momentum ready to go that direction.
Well, we're going to take another crack at it. And eventually, right, Coop, back to the bull being half the score. The judges often just throw and there they did. They threw the re-ride flag just because short fire wasn't cooperative enough.
Yeah, he'll have another opportunity at another bull. I believe it's going to be El Chapo. A little more rider friendly.
Yeah, and the re-ride's starting to line up, by the way, which is not uncommon for an ABBI Classic night.
Right, these are young bulls first time, so lots of jitters on both ends here.
Callum Miller, Mr. Demon.
I believe this is a spotted Demon calf. You guys remember him? He was a great bull several years back. Callum Miller, he's got a great bull underneath him.
Callum Miller, another one of those guys who had such a great start to the season, but has only ridden 4 of his last 18.
A little bit slower than the way he started things off. But we got to see just how good Callum Miller can be this year.
Great crowd, by the way, here at Gamebridge tonight. Expect the same tomorrow. Credit Callum for finishing off the ride, but I think that touch is going to stand and it'll still stay a 0.
Yeah, he's going to hit the button, make sure that they made the right call. Well, there was a lot going on there. He's saying, I hit him with my chest. We're going to take a look back at the Bass Pro Shops replay, and Callum Miller made some really big corrections through this ride. Yeah. There's a lot to look at here.
Guys, Court McFadden and I were just talking about Callum right before he nodded his head. And we both agreed what we love about him is it does not matter what bull it is. You get maximum effort every time he nods his head. And that just showed it again.
That sure did. And, he has just got that certain toughness about him and grit. It doesn't matter what they run the chute.
Well, they are continuing to take a look at this. In real time, it was called a touch at 2.44. Justin Maples back in action. But Coop, you said it. I mean, it looked like, well, maybe because of the way his body was turned.
Well, he doesn't come down with his free hand, I don't think, right here. Hits him with his chest. We'd have to see the other angle, which, yeah, right here will show us. God, man, I don't see it.
And from that angle, this is going to turn out to be a great challenge. I love how Callum just shrugged his shoulders like, yeah, okay. Whichever way it goes, it goes. Hey, Matt, the interview last weekend with Trace Red went so well. Would you like to go ask Callum if he touched the bull?
Yeah, I know Trace really well, and I know Callum really well. If for some reason it didn't go his way, I'd rather be right where I am, guys.
And this is just a hard angle, what they're going to look at.
Oh, boy.
That is,
How can you tell?
the chaps could have saved him there, but I don't think so. Yeah.
Oh, boy. It stays a buck off. Justin Maples, the ultimate decider. And this crowd might be following Justin Maples back to the hotel tonight when we leave here. Not happy with Callum Miller's 0. Well, when it comes to Jose Vitor-Leme on the right and Jonn Crimber on the left, it has been a tale of 2 different seasons. Jose's got the buckles, as we all know, but at the moment, Crimber has the form and the coveted top spot in the world. Here it is, the remaining regular season schedule. Only 4 events left. Albuquerque, Sioux Falls, Billings, and Tacoma. Pretty cool, right, Coop, that we've got back-to-back 3-day events in Albuquerque and Sioux Falls coming up.
Yeah, I mean, those are always some really good events, and get to see some great bulls as well rounded out there in Tacoma.
Well, if you can't get to any of those, make sure to log on to PBR.com and look for tickets at the World Finals, because we will have back-to-back weeks in early May to decide our champions. Here, we're still working on our round 1 champion at the moment, and from very early on, Hudson Bolton has been the standard. There he is.
Now, Hudson Bolton made a great ride, and coming back off of injuries, gotta feel good. Still got some great bull riding coming up.
Well, our next guy has plenty of highlights to his credit. 3-time PBR World Champion, Jose Vitor-Leme. He was our Rookie of the Year back in 2017. He set so many records already throughout his career, but that number on the far left, 35th in the world at the moment, is surprising.
Really surprising. And you know what, last season, I feel like you got warmed up a lot sooner than now. You know, right now we're struggling trying to make the finals even for Jose Vitor-Leme, and you know, really surprising. I mean, one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest. Surprising to see him down there that far.
Yeah, there are a couple more, let's call it statistics, that he needs to hit to really take the debate out of being the best ever. One of them would be winning a 4th gold buckle, but this year it's still a long shot. And that becomes a 7-second microcosm of this season for Jose. Had he gone 8/10 more, he would have gotten a re-ride and had a bull out of that re-ride pen that would have given him a chance for the round win. Instead, it looks like he's going to taste another 0.
And this is going to be so frustrating for Jose here. You know, whenever you show up and you draw a bull like this, when you're down there at 35th, you know, it makes it really hard to make that climb, but you've still got to ride them all. It doesn't matter what they do. Job never changes.
Remember, missed a couple of events after Pittsburgh because of the groin injury, different than the prior groin injuries that had affected him. So it's pretty clear to read that body language as we move on to Andrew Alvidrez, Maserati.
Brand new bull right here, Andrew Alvidrez. The one thing I like about it, he's out of the right-hand buck and shoot. So I'd say the odds are in his favor to spin to the right.
Hey, go back a year ago. Alvidrez won here in Indianapolis, so he starts his defense now.
And a good feeling when you walk into a building you had success in before.
Maserati brought the speed. 0 to 60 in 3.9.
And a really good out by that bull. I mean, he was getting it around that corner. Andrew Alvidrez trying to kick loose, get where he needs to be. See, this bull's shoulders are kind of moving in an odd way. Doesn't quite have the timing that makes him rider friendly.
Alvidrez continues to struggle after that great result in Bridgeport where he won that event going 3 for 3. That's going to bring up our next rider who doesn't need to impress anybody after a few weeks. We've seen him this season and the hits that he has taken, literally case hit against Goldfinger.
Yeah, case hit. I mean, he's taken some shots and just kept on going. And, you know, he's, to me, he's getting to where he is confident in his ability and he's really stepping up, making some big rides.
That's the key word, is confidence. I talked to him earlier and he said his confidence is at an all-time high. Feels like he belongs here, getting on a lot of bulls during the week, and it has helped getting his legs underneath him, and it's really starting to show.
Coop, correct me if I'm wrong, but that right there looked like a guy that overplayed his hand.
That's absolutely it. I mean, this bull kind of starts off slow. Almost like he expected a little bit more out of this bull around this corner and dove way off to the inside.
Had a good ride last weekend out of the re-ride pen, but here he starts with a 0 at 3.
Yeah, you really want to ride the outside shoulder as they're spinning into your hand.
That's going to bring up Claudio Montagna Jr. You can tell by the helmet if you watch teams, the Texas Rattler man goes up against the Dark Knight.
Yeah, and Claudio, he's got a good opportunity here. This bull should fit him.
Well, this is going to be an automatic review first and foremost. 6/100ths away. He doesn't have to hit the button, but he's clearly running over there to do just that. It looks as though at least one judge saw a touch. Coop, did you see it?
I didn't, not in real time, no, but you know, a lot of times whenever you get kind of late on this corner here, they might have seen a touch right there.
That's exactly right. As Justin Maples starts to slow the frames down. Oh, yeah. And this is a great point for our fans, right, Coop? The free arm, it doesn't have to be in front of the bull. It could be at any point of the bull.
Yeah, any contact with that free arm to the bull, or even, you know, if a guy touches his leg, it's going to be a disqualification. But, man, I mean, it is so close right here.
I was going to say,
You
well,
think yes, and then
is it? Great job by our camera crew to have all these angles for Justin Maples to look at.
you know, his black shirt might have saved him here, because it makes it really hard to decipher what's going to be a touch. Oh, right there.
That seems pretty clear.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? I think, yeah, there we go. Red background, thumbs down, double confirmation. Claudio, unfortunately, can shake his head, but that did seem pretty clear as the dark night casts a dark shadow over Claudio's evening. Here we go, our world number one, Jonn Crimber. He starts his defense of the mountaintop tonight. Crazy water.
And really excited to see how does Jonn Crimber handle the pressure of being the #1 man in the world. You got to where you want to be. Can you keep your foot on the gas? Keep going.
Marco Rizzo there. Crazy water sends a very clear message.
Yeah, not a very fun trip for a rider to get by. But Jonn Crimber, I mean, being in the position he's in, he has got to keep his foot on the gas, start trying to create some space between him and #1 and 2, and it just seems like it's been so hard for the #1 guy this year to really get any space.
Well, both Sage and Crimber buck off as he salutes this crowd and his legion of fans. So now Dalton Castle, it's been a few weeks since he's had an ability to make up ground on the guys in front of him, but this is one of those moments. Re-ride pen, Woody.
Yeah, prime opportunity right here for Dalton Castle. This is a very rideable bull. Dalton Castle shouldn't have any problem with him.
Yeah, and on a night when we've seen mostly young bulls come out of the chutes, that gives added significance to this re-ride pen and their veteran presence.
It sure does, and you know, for a bull like Woody, Dalton Castle, I mean, he should have been extremely excited to see him as his re-ride bull. You know, one thing, Dalton has been losing his rope right here towards the 8-second whistle. I don't know what's going on with that, but I think if he can keep his hand closed today, we're gonna be 87 plus.
Well, and to that point, Coop, you alerted the fans last week his switch to the American rope. Is he using that again this weekend?
He is. He's got the American rope, which tends to hang on to you a little bit better than the Brazilian does. You end up on that pinky finger, so you got a little more strength on that side of your hand.
Well, look, Woody is a bull that has given so many guys who have less talent than Dalton Castle a lot more points.
I didn't see it going that way. I mean, this bull just kicks out of there. Dalton Castle just left the buck and shoot a little bit behind today. Wasn't quite able to transfer that weight to the right side.
Yeah, I feel like, Red, I'm about to repeat myself, and for good reason. We started the night talking about Kaique Pacheco and things that were indicative of his season. That right there is what's been happening to Dalton too much of late.
Yeah, too much, and you know, you just keep waiting for him to turn around, but we're running out of season.
We stay in this re-ride pen, and now it's going to be Manuelito de Sousa Jr.'s chance against another bull that allows a lot of guys to go to the distance, El Chapo.
Very similar type of bull here. This one's a little bit slower, a little more up and down. But the bull likes to spin to the right. Manuelito, left-handed guy, prefers the bull to spin that direction.
Coop, you mentioned it when he added his original bull. This is a guy that's fighting just to make the World Finals.
Yeah, and you know, he's made the best of his opportunities getting in on these game within a games, and you know, he just hasn't been able to break into that top 35, which, you know, it makes it really hard. When you're down there, you start thinking, am I good enough? Am I going to be able to make it through to fight for that spot in the World Finals?
Well, fans, you can win the ultimate experience to see George Strait and Cody Johnson live at Clemson's Death Valley on May 2nd. Scan the QR code for a chance to win tickets to an unforgettable night of country music. No purchase or subscription is necessary. You must be 21 or over. See the rules and prizes at pbr.com/win. Manny's still prepping. El Chapo last ridden, his last out in Little Rock. Keyshawn Whitehorse. That's Lucas Davino chirping in his ear. That's a great start from El Chapo, and therefore a quick finish.
Really good out by El Chapo, and for Manuelito, you've seen him almost get kind of stuck in one position when he left the buck and shoot. You can't do that in bull riding. You've got to be able to keep moving, be in an athletic position.
Man, that is an awkward landing for sure. Good to see him just roll over onto his feet. As we're still at 7 qualified rides, by the way. Haven't seen one in a long time. Felipe Furlon is now going to get his chance against, drumroll please, Coop, the bull's name.
Hermes.
There you go.
That's what we're going to go with anyway.
I like it.
Could be Hermes, though. Oh, and Felipe, he's going to have his hands full with this one. This bull is really fast to the right. But one thing about Felipe, this year when he does stay on, his numbers have been high. His average ride score has got to be up in the top 3, I would think.
Yeah, pretty crazy. It's been a season of all or nothing for him.
Yeah, and a guy that swings for the fences, this might be the matchup he needed.
He's got Julio Cesar Marcus right there, the new Texas Rattler, holding on to his vest.
That's going to re-pull, get everything just right.
There's Hudson Bolton, a 20-year-old at the moment, even though we've got all the Monster Energy Team Challenge game outs to go tonight. He's in position to possibly win his 2nd round of the season. The clock has now started. That one's over. 3 on the nose.
Really quick out there by Felipe and Hermes, but yeah, just really fast, wasn't able to handle the speed out.
So this segment of round 1 has concluded with Hudson Bolton in the lead, Brady Fielder in 2nd, and Court McFadden sitting in 3rd. But we're far from done here on Paramount Plus, as we're set to bring you 2 different games of the Monster Energy Team Challenge's final regular season. Kansas City will go up against Arizona, and Carolina will go up against Nashville. Playoff ramifications on the line.
If you got a fire, don't lose it. If you gotta do or die, dream, do it. If you got something to prove, go on and prove it. Don't let nobody clip your wings. Getting back up, that's the only backup plan you need.
Back inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse where both the Pacers and Indiana Fever play. Banners everywhere you look up in the Raptors. Two very successful NBA and WNBA franchises. Maybe there'll be a Monster Energy Team Challenge banner here someday. Let's take a look at those standings. The three teams highlighted: Florida, Kansas City, Nashville. Only two will make the playoffs next weekend in Albuquerque. As we continue round number one, let's talk, though, these clinching scenarios, Coop. You know, the top two lines, look, if either Kansas City or Nashville wins or loses, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, but it can kind of get complicated, too. If both of these teams, you know, say they both win or lose, then it gets a little complicated because then you have to go to the season points over the full year to get the winner out. That's your tiebreaker.
Yeah, that's when we're going to need a lot of calculators and a lot of smart people who can do math better than you and I to figure it all out. He's still Coop, I'm still Craig. Welcome back to Paramount Plus. Coop, let's talk about the two teams that have a chance to advance, starting in game number one, Kansas City. What should their fans hope for?
Well, you got to hope Colton Hevelo starts them off with a bang. I mean, that's what they've had to look for all year long. He's been their heavy hitter. Colton Hevelo, though, he has got a tough matchup tonight in Jailer. So I think all the chips are going to fall on Colton Hevelo, and then you got Casio Diaz.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Casio because the Kansas City Outlaws need him to regain his form.
Yeah, they need the 24 Casio Diaz tonight to show up, get them through, give them an opportunity to get in that playoff position.
All right, well, in game number two, Nashville, look, nothing is impossible for Justin McBride in the Stampede, but fact of the matter is they need the men to step up and score a lot.
They sure do, and you know, one thing that's on their side, though, they have a rematch to start them off. Alan DeSosa on a bull by the name of Black Tide. These two matched up a couple of times, and Alan, he's obviously had an answer for him. They look for the same thing tonight.
Yeah, that's the way they start every game, but I tell you what, they also need Little A to go big.
They sure do, and hey, he's not scared to. You see him put biggest ride all year long on Ransom just a couple of weeks back. This is what they need out of Austin Richardson, and I think they've got a good chance to do it.
Last two regular season games before our playoffs are set. So this is where it gets fun for me. I got to put your feet to the fire. I want your predictions of the three teams, Florida, Kansas City, Nashville. Who are the two that advance?
Well, I think Florida's going to get through, and I think Nashville's got a tougher road to climb. They need a few more points, but I think they're going to get in, Nashville and Florida.
There you go, world. Cooper Davis, the wise one, has spoken. We'll see if he is right. Two-time world champ Justin McBride would like him to be just that, as he hopes his Nashville Stampede by the end of the night will advance.
For years, the teams of the PBR have faced off in a relentless fight for glory.
This team sport is all about finding a way.
Man versus beast. Team versus team. Champions have risen.
Hand over the helmets and fit them for crowns.
This season, a new challenge has been introduced. Teams of 4 going head-to-head in a 4-game sprint to the finish.
If you wanted drama, we're here to give it to you.
Now, with the playoffs just 1 week away, 2 teams walk into Indianapolis with one last shot to lock their spot in the Final 4. Every out, every point, and every win matters. When the dust settles, only one team will emerge victorious. Fueled by intensity and hard lessons learned, this challenge comes down to one thing. Brothers standing shoulder to shoulder, determined to prove that they are the best group of bull riders on the planet. This is the 2026 Monster Energy Team Challenge.
The PBR and teams have transformed this sport, and the addition of the Monster Energy Team Challenge during the Unleash the Beast season has been an added bonus. Kansas City, Arizona, Nashville, Carolina. Those are the 2 games that round out the regular season. Well, when you talk about the Arizona Ridge Riders and what they can do, their coach, former rider Colby Yates, knows the sky's the limit. But the past 4 seasons, they've come up short. And certainly in this Monster Energy Team Challenge season, they've come up short as well, sitting at 0-3. But tonight could be a different story. And then when you talk about the Kansas City Outlaws, well, Matt, they've got a very different form of coach this evening.
Yeah, noticeably absent tonight will be the Iron Man J.W. Hart, but in his place, Colton Hevelo has decided to step up and play player/coach. He said he's going to pull double duty tonight, and then he rethought all of that, and he said actually him and Cassio Diaz are co-coaches. When I asked him to explain a little further in detail why that is the case, and he said, I'd love to go in there and give a pep talk to the rest of my team, but none of them would understand anything I had to say, so therefore, the reasoning for Cassio being the co-coach. But in all fairness, when it gets down to business, he got very serious, and he said, at the end of the day, what J-Dub would want from all of us is to take care of business, and that is all we're here to do. In what might be a must-win situation, he said every game is a must-win. We've all got to ride our bulls.
Yeah, taking a look at those starting lineups, and J.W. Hart and the Kansas City Outlaws, Coop, you talked about how difficult the first one for them, Colton Hevelo and Jailer, was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, they have the toughest bull in this game, in my opinion. Jailer, big, tough, ranked bull, but the rest of the guys are really going to have to lean on them hard. Ridge Riders, they've got a nice set of bulls.
Yeah, I love the way Matt set that up, too, in terms of J.W. Hart. Look, he is a guy that does not mince words and cuts straight to the chase, doesn't he? Especially when it comes to bull riding.
Yeah, you never have to wonder what's on his mind, and that is why he's such a great coach. Colton Hevelo, though, he's got a lot of weight on his shoulders. Reason he starts them off first, get the momentum headed their direction, get the rest of the guys a little bit of confidence moving forward.
Coop, as you and most of our fans who watch the telecast know, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. Love to see Hevelo start off this game the way we saw our guys start off the championship round at Florida State last weekend.
I would love to see it too, and you know, this is the type of bull that normally is in a championship round, so we could start it off with a bang here.
Jailer, never been ridden. And it's going to stay that way. It took a little bit longer than perhaps the bull wanted because Hevelo was tenacious off the side, but off he was at 5.
And that's one thing you always see out of Colton Hevelo. No matter how bad a position he gets in, he's going to grit it out to the end. Just comes up a little short today.
You mentioned that was the hardest pairing we were going to see all game, so
44.8 on the bull score. Jailer had a good day.
yeah, great job indeed. third best bull score we've seen in the round. Ransom, by the way, if you're just joining us, moved to #1 in the world champion bull race with his out earlier this evening. We now move to Arizona's first chance. In the first, they go with Bruno Carvalho, the agenda.
He's got a nice bull here. I mean, this is a bull that gets ridden fairly often. Bruno has a good chance to put Arizona out front early on.
Carvalho has been a guy that during teams has struggled.
Yeah, he's struggled, but we've also seen just how good he can be. When in Denver this year,
did the bull stumble enough? And yes, Cooper Davis, we see re-ride flags.
yeah, great job by them. You see him holding that rib a little bit. Don't like to see him going down like that.
Yeah, and again, during these in-season games, I'll call them, it becomes, I'll say, just not as clear if a guy cannot take his re-ride, who ends up being able to.
Yeah, they'd have to pull somebody else, but you know, he's been dealing with this. He's going to take it. He's been dealing with this injury for a little while.
Well, Coop, another one where we can either agree to disagree or simply just say which version of the name we like. Would you go with lever action or lever action?
I'd say lever.
Me too.
Yep. All right.
I guess we can be friends
I'd
for the
say
rest
so.
of the segment.
At least until then.
Until the commercial break, right? All right, we move on to Allison Dos Santos. He's been paired with Torched.
And this bull here, he was ridden a couple of times early on in his career, but as he's gotten older, gotten stronger, you know, he's been a little bit more of a handful for the guys to get by. Allison DeSoso needs to stay towards the front of this bull, not let him get pulled on.
Hey, the other thing, by the way, and there are a few guys in these games that have to do it, he needs to ride to continue his weekend. He's been brought here specifically for this game, but again, because it's a game within the game, Cooper's used that phrase a couple times tonight. If he does ride, he gets to ride tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's a lot of added pressure for a guy that shows up and needs to put a score on the board for his team, but in order to keep going that weekend, or your weekend's over if you don't make the whistle here.
Pebelo right there.
You're on the clock. Let's go.
Now the clock ticks. The clock stopped earlier than when we saw Dos Santos off the back of Torch. So whether it was that early touch or the time increased to the buck up, still going to be a 0.
Yeah, still the same result here, and you know, this bull's got so much forward movement. That's what I was talking about. He's trying to pull a guy down, eventually puts enough pressure on that hand, loses his bull rope either way.
So Kansas City now 0 for 2 in this game. They've only got 2 more chances. Part of the math for Kansas City is not only do they need to win, but they need a score of over 85.4 to knock Florida out.
Yeah, and you know, it's starting to get really close. They've only got 2 riders left. Then you got Alfonso Quintino here paired up with Moolah. This could be a ton of points. Really electric little bull.
First time he's riding for Arizona, I believe, this season.
Yeah, this is a little bitty guy, but super exciting to watch. Moolah, another one of those great young bulls coming up.
Yeah, in terms of stature, right? One of the absolute smallest bulls, as you said.
Yeah, a little bitty bull with a big heart, though. This bull, he's the real deal.
No, don't read, bull. You don't need to.
You know, the more Alfonso sits in there, the more the momentum's going to swing towards Moolah's direction.
Oh.
There you go. There you go. Got it.
Ever so close. 1.3 seconds away from being not only a good ride, but an exceptional one for Arizona's chances. He's pointing, it seems like, at the challenge button, Coop.
Yeah, he's looking for one, but I don't know what he would be challenging there.
Well,
And if he challenges, it's going to be $500 out of his pocket if he's wrong. He's only got 30 seconds. Too late.
I think he ran out of time, and that's one of the nuances of this rule is they have to challenge within, or someone on his behalf has to challenge within 30 seconds. So it will stay a 0 no matter what. And speaking of zeros across the board. Well, I mentioned it earlier. If there was ever a time for 2024 World Champion Casio Diaz to regain his top 4, it would be tonight. His Kansas City teammates could use his expertise. Been a great night on Paramount Plus. Earlier we saw 7 qualified rides, but now we've transitioned into the Monster Energy Team Challenge. 2 games tonight to finish off our evening. At the moment, Kansas City 0 for 2, Arizona. They've got 3 guys left, but Kansas City running out of chances in this game, Coop. If they win, they control their own destiny. A loss, they're gonna need some help. Eric Anique Domingos for the Outlaws now getting his chance.
Yeah, and they really need him to step up right here. Like you said, if they don't get a win, they kind of fall at whatever Nashville is able to do in this next game, whether or not they get into that playoff position.
There are a number of Florida Freedom fans, I'll say, because the riders aren't going to cheer against their fellow riders, but a number of Florida Freedom fans right around the world that would love to see Kansas City lose.
Yeah, they would. They want to see Florida Freedom get in, have that spot clinched. Got a Jonn Crimber fan there.
There he is. Wait, and there's a Jonn Crimber fan too.
Guys, I can confirm he's talking to his mom.
That's cool, Matt West. Thank you. As we take a look at Domingos, still prepping. This is a bull we've just started to see from Long Ranch and Teller. Jeffrey D.
Yeah, really good bull. Should go into Eric's hand here. Well, that's one thing that's playing into their favor.
By the way, comparatively, the last bull we saw and Jeffrey D, about twice as big.
Yeah, this bull, he's a good-sized bull here. Anxious to get out there and do his job.
Domingo's down at 5.8. Kansas City down to their final chance.
Man, you know, and this was a perfect bull for him. He just leaves way lean back right there, and when you do that, you're going to have to make some Hail Mary moves. Isn't quite able to get to center.
That is the first time this season that we've seen Eric at this level. Unable to help his team here. And we move on to Luciano De Castro, a guy that the Arizona Ridge Riders could lean on, rely on, and bet on, right? All team season last year. But Coop, Luciano has struggled in 2026.
He has, and you know, it's been so surprising to see just how much he struggled. But you know, you've seen how good he can be. What was it? A couple weeks back, he was able to string some rides together, and you know, it just, you keep waiting for that to happen again with some consistency. You've got a great bull underneath him. Wavy Bomb hasn't been ridden yet, but this is the type of bull that a year ago Luciano would have really shined on.
Well, and we mentioned it, didn't we, earlier in the evening tonight on the telecast with Brady Fielder. One ride away, right, from turning things around. He got that big ride. I think Luciano's in the same boat. He's just one good ride away.
Yeah, and this could be it right here. Wavy Bomb, we've seen him in some championship rounds already in his early career. Really electric little bull, and should spin to the left in Luciano's hand where he is the strongest.
The simple facts of this one, if Luciano can go the distance, pressure clearly on Kansas City, as they will then be down to their last opportunity, not only needing 8, but needing 8 and some form of value.
Yeah, I mean, and they're already, you know, backed into a corner. They need it 85 plus, but they've got Casio Diaz in that last spot because he can handle the pressure, but Luciano, I think he's going to apply some pressure here.
Nobody's got more faith in Luciano than the guy holding his vest right now, his coach, Colby Yates.
Yeah, Colby Yates, and he has spent a ton of time learning Portuguese, learn how to talk to his riders. You talk about a guy that dove headfirst into his coaching position.
Luciano, not only just because of the way Wavy Bomb left the chutes, but Coop, back to this season and this rut he's in, just kind of looked lost when the gate swung open.
And just a little bit of bad luck here. This bull turns out to the, you know, normally spins to the left right here, but turns out backwards goes right. You know, just luck has not been on his side this year.
And I feel like right during this, let's call it game within the games, luck hasn't been on Arizona's side either.
No, whether it be draws or just unfortunate things like that happen.
Okay, but they get to go back-to-back here because of that re-ride opportunity. So it's Bruno Carvalho, and whether you say lever action or lever action, the bull's going to do what he wants to do. Bruno needs to hang on.
Yeah, and he's got a really nice bull compared to some of these bulls in here. Rider friendly, should start to the right, may end up back to the left, but Bruno, he's got to capitalize on this re-ride.
We can all see the clock. Hopefully Bruno's cognizant of it as well. And the struggles continue across the board for both teams. No one has made it to 8 in this game.
You just see Bruno, I mean, he's in pain as soon as he comes off. That's got to have something to do with his riding. That's a bull he should have ridden.
It is going to come down to the closers to see who is going to win.
So Casio Diaz controls Kansas City's destiny. The 2024 PBR World Champs They have to have a score. One chance, the bull appropriately named.
Yeah, that's what Casio Diaz here. One chance to make it all happen for Kansas City.
He gets the 8 that they needed. The final out for Kansas City is the one that counts.
Man, and what a time to step up for Casio Diaz. I mean, when he's at his best, it's when he's backed into a corner, needing something to happen.
87.25. Arizona will have one last chance.
Yeah, and you know, just what they needed. Whenever you need the champ to step up, he did just that. Great job right here, riding this bull both directions, not getting too excited one way or the other. And Casio Diaz, look back to the form of that 24 world title.
So Keyshawn Whitehorse for Arizona, who has more than a few walk-off wins in his career, gets the opportunity at another one. The bull's name, White Command. He needs 87.3.
Yeah, and Keyshawn is no stranger to a walk-off.
Well, there is no question that here in the fourth, we saw fireworks. Coop, I'm going to you first. Did he have enough bull underneath him?
I don't know if he had enough bull to get to 87.25, and I don't know if he finished strong enough.
Casio doesn't think so.
I think Kansas City has got it by just a little bit here.
It's a score. We know that much. But did they, there it is, 84.3. Kansas City wins the game.
Yeah, they're going to clinch their way in. They're going to be enough points. Casio Diaz pulled them through today.
So Kansas City clinches their spot in the playoffs, and it is none other than Casio Diaz. Now, you see Jonn Crimber with Justin McBride. One of those two teams, Florida or Nashville.
Here with Colton Hevelo, and kind of hard to hear in here because there's a lot of Outlaw fans in Indianapolis. It came down to the very last moment, but how clutch is Casio Diaz?
Yeah, you know, he's a world champ for a reason, and, you know, he's a big support system in this team, and thankfully he pulled it off for us at the end. You know, J.W. Hart and Glaramy, pretty proud of us, even though we work hard, and even though we even got 3 buck-offs tonight, they still rely on us and expect the best out of us, and we're fixing to go back and get our butts chewed for it over the phone, but also congratulate Casio for pulling it off.
I know that it didn't go your way, but you're moving forward. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, pretty straight facts from Colton Hevelo there. Yeah, most of the team probably going to get a talking to. But Casio Diaz allows them to move into that third position. We've got Florida and Nashville. Those two teams still in the running for the fourth and final playoff spot. Casio Diaz in the top of the fourth shines the brightest in this first game. We've got game number 2 coming up.
After a winter of close calls and hard lessons,
This game is over. The Carolina Cowboys season is over.
the Carolina Cowboys arrive in Indianapolis with nothing left to lose. No path to the playoffs. Just one final chance for last season's champs to play spoiler. Across the chutes, it's a different kind of pressure. The Nashville Stampede are still alive. Barely.
The Nashville Stampede get the win in walk-off fashion.
To keep their season going, Nashville doesn't just need a win. They need that complete performance that has eluded Justin McBride's squad during this year's team challenge. The Stampede's master motivator will be looking to channel the success that brought a title to Nashville in 2022.
You want to be a champion? You go take it!
One team riding for pride. One team fighting for the playoffs. Tonight, in Indy, everything is on the line. Cowboys, Stampede. Let's do this.
This is how we're going to round out our night number 1 in Indianapolis, showing you 3 teams that have already clinched a spot in the playoffs. Missouri, Austin, and Kansas City. Who will it be? Florida or Nashville that completes, Coop, the PBR's Final Four?
Well, I mean, it's going to be really close. Nashville has some great matchups. Florida, they're just sitting on the edge of their seat waiting to see what happens with this game.
We talked about it earlier as we look at the starting lineups. You think Alan DeSouza against black tie is the perfect way to start for the Stampede?
I do. I mean, he has got a great bull. Black tie, fully should ride. And but I'm telling you what, it's going to be a tight game between Nashville and Carolina here.
Sorry to overtalk your partner, but Matt, I know you've got Justin with you. I hope he gave him a good pep talk.
I am, and Justin McBride and his Nashville Stampede, no strangers to being backed into a corner. What do you tell your guys tonight to get ready for this one?
Well, the same thing as every time. You know, it's bull riding. It all starts and ends with staying on your bull. If they don't do that, we've got no shot at nothing. So let's go stay on your bull.
Sounds familiar, and I've seen it done. Good luck tonight, Coach.
Thank you, Matt.
Quick reminder right there, that graphic, they need 109.1 points and the win to knock Florida out.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to put 2 scores on the board at least and get the win here. I'll tell you what, they're going to start it off the right way with Alan DeSouza.
This is why they put Alan DeSouza first. He has been so good at galvanizing this team and energizing this team with the first ride.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategy that goes into these team games. When you've got a guy up front, you know, his job is to apply the pressure to the other team, back them into a corner, kind of create some chaos over there. Well, Alan DeSouza, he can do that. Last time these two matched up, went Alan DeSouza's way. Well, this is a big, strong bull, but perfect bull for Alan DeSouza.
Last year during team season, Alan DeSouza rode almost 64% of his bulls, increased his riding percentage, Coop, from the year before by over 26%.
Yeah, and that's impressive. I mean, you know, that's world championship caliber numbers there for Alan DeSouza. Not always putting huge scores on the board, but consistency is his game.
Yeah, and that's a great point by you, right? They don't need a big score out of him. They just need a score.
That's it. Get him on the board. Get him some momentum.
Adriano Salgado, by the way, chirping in his ear. Is it worth challenging because of the contact?
You know, I think so. It changed the bull's direction, but I don't see him doing it.
No rider. There's Silvano Alves, the 3-time world champ. He knows a thing or two about bull riding. He hits the button for Allen.
And they're going to take a look, make sure, see if the hip leaving the chute is what causes the buck off here.
Now that it is a challenge, Coop, I mean, based on what Justin Maples' strike zone has been all night long, what do you see happening?
Well, you know, we're going to see right here with this angle. Yes, there is contact. Yes, it changes the direction of the bull. I think so.
I mean, based on those two criteria, which are two of the top criteria for being awarded a re-ride, I agree with you on both counts.
Yeah, and what they're going to see is, does it put him out of position? Which that angle to me doesn't show him out of position. So that'd be the only reason they don't give him one.
All right, so it stays a 0, and that becomes a glaring missed opportunity for Justin McBride. Because keep in mind, they need 2 qualified rides and the win. Carolina now gets their chance. Elijah Jennings riding for them again, paired with Night Agent.
Yeah, and Elijah has a big opportunity here. You know, it's a lot of pressure for a young guy starting him off. Night Agent, though, should be away from his hand.
A devilish out from Night Agent, as Elijah definitely put in a solid night's work.
Man, he was putting the second, third efforts out, and that's what causes his hand to pop out of his rope. Gets a little behind, puts a lot of pressure on it, but he was making all the right moves to get to where he needed to, just a little short.
Coop, we've talked about this with Elijah the past month, right? Zeros are stacking up, but he learned from that out.
That's it. He's got such a great attitude. If he'll keep that attitude up, keep learning from those mistakes, he'll be a player in no time.
Carolina coaches right there, Jerome Davis, Robson Palermo. Carolina, the defending team champions, as Nashville sends out another one of their greats. We talked about this during the show earlier. They need Austin Richardson's points here, paired with Triton.
Yeah, they need Austin Richardson in a big way right here, and they need the Austin Richardson that showed up in Little Rock, put some big scores on the board. But, you know, he's got a favorable matchup. This bull should go into his hand. It should swing a little momentum into Nashville's way.
Silvano Alves with encouragement. Well, the two guys they needed to ride and that we thought were going to ride are not going to leave here with a very good taste in their mouth.
No, and it's going to be an uphill climb for the rest of the guys. You know, it's a ton of pressure, but it's not over.
Well, but Coop, right? I mean, different ways to decide over, right, or define over. But really, for Nashville now, because they need 2 scores, if their next rider bucks off, they still might win, but they aren't going to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. They've got 2 really young guys with a ton of pressure on them, and they both need qualified rides.
Trace Red getting an opportunity for Carolina this weekend, been paired with Tacky Jack.
Yeah, he's got a good one here, Tacky Jack. Good young bull. A little bit of a handful in the buck and shoot, though, as you can see.
Thiago Salgado, by the way, in the black shirt, doing a great job protecting him, keeping him from slamming into the chutes.
Yeah, and, you know, Trace Red had a solid weekend last weekend, and Tallahassee made a great ride there.
Speaking of last weekend, he also noticed on social media this week, at PBR posted a pretty suspect view of the video that he challenged and did not go his way. He's still questioning whether or not that was the right call, guys.
Does that mean he's filed a written protest with the PBR, Matt?
He's not that invested yet.
Well, Tacky Jack didn't take long to make sure he did not enjoy this evening.
Yeah, I feel like he got a little over anxious to nod right there. Took his chance. Ends up in a 0.
A lot like the last game, zeros to start us off. Justin McBride knows his team's collective back is against the wall. They need rides. Multi-platinum country music star Bailey Zimmerman's Backup Plan featuring Luke Combs is the theme song for PBR's Unleashed Beast 2026 season. To hear more of Zimmerman's music, tickets are available now for the Different Night Same Rodeo Tour at BaileyZimmermanMusic.com. Last game of the night, two-time world champ Justin McBride knows it's not up to him when he sends his Nashville Stampede into the chutes. They need to win, and they need those points right there. It's pretty simple, though. It has to start right here, Cooper Davis. He's got 2 guys left. He needs 2 rides. If Rogerio Venancio bucks off, Nashville's season is over.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to this right here. Can Rogerio step up, put him on the board? I think he can. Sour Patch, great young bull. Should fit Rogerio.
8 seconds or bust right here for Nashville. This bull, the past couple weeks, has bucked off Hudson Bolton, Marco Rizzo, and our world #1, Jonn Crimber. Venancio's down. Nashville is done. Florida is the 4th team that completes the PBR's Final Four. Jonn Crimber in the midst of signing autographs. He'll be informed at some point that he will lead his team into the playoffs.
Yep, they're still in it and still have an opportunity there.
I think right? We don't have to wait long. It's next weekend in Albuquerque. 1 and 4 will go at each other.
Yeah, we don't slow down. We're going to keep going. Jonn Crimber liking what he sees right there.
I like that look. He just kind of says, this is how it's done.
Aha.
Aha. As Carolina still in it to win it. They are 0 for 3 this season. Can they finish off with the win and use that momentum into the summer? Elismar Jeremias, Mr. Gold.
Yeah, well, we're going to see right here. Elismar, brand new Carolina Cowboy here, and I'd say he's got a great matchup underneath him.
Yeah, Jeremias, Coop, I know you were part of that trade picked up by your team last week before our event at Florida State University.
He's a really, really talented guy. Can he put it together today?
He got shaken and stirred by Mr. Gold.
Man, that was a really impressive out right there by Mr. Gold. Lots up and down, lots of kick. Bull leaves there really strong. 44.6 on the bull score.
Yeah.
So you want to be a bull rider, huh?
Keep in mind that very good chance we're going to see some of these bulls out in tomorrow's championship round, if not in the long round as well. But when you talk about, right, Mr. Gold and a score like that, he might make the top 12 tomorrow afternoon.
He very well could. I mean, that was championship caliber numbers.
Okay, so here we go. New addition to the Stampede just for the weekend. Andy Guzman, he faced this bull before. In fact, became his first qualified ride of the season back in Sacramento. Simple Man.
Boy, it'd be a really good time to get him on the board here. Great opportunity for Andy Guzman. Kind of proved to himself that he does fit on a team. You know, when these young guys get an opportunity like this, it's almost a trial run for them. See if they handle the pressure of being on a team, where they fit in at.
Well, he's going to take another chance to walk through this process. A lot, again, for our baseball fans out there. Matt, you see these guys before they step into the batter's box, they've got a whole routine.
And speaking of seeing these guys before, this relationship with Coach Justin McBride and Andy Guzman goes back a couple of years. As a matter of fact, they first got acquainted during the first season of the last Cowboys standing. McBride's been a fan ever since, but he's watched Guzman mature, and when he got to this level, he kind of had his eye on him. They're trying to find out if he fits in that blue and gold. We'll find out tonight.
This game's still up for grabs. Nothing easy about that out from Simple Man.
A lot was going on as soon as that gate opened up. Threw off Andy Guzman's time, and you want to be a fan of this kid so bad because he gives it everything he has every time. He's going to hit the button.
Well, why not? In a layer of this that, of course, because of the team scenarios and ramifications we wanted to emphasize. Remember, this is the game within the game. This is part of the Indianapolis overall weekend for these guys. So if he does win this challenge and gets a new bull, it sets him up for tomorrow.
That's exactly right. You know, he doesn't have to, but he needs a score today, get some momentum running. There's been some good scores early on in this round. Bull definitely hangs his horn leaving there. You know, one thing I've asked these judges about, are they just looking at whether the bull hips itself, or does it put the guy in a bad position whenever the bull does make that foul? Right there, it didn't put him in a bad position, so no re-ride.
Yeah, it stays a 0. And that's going to leave your good friend, Coop, 2022 PBR World Champion and last weekend's winner, Dalen Swearingen, to finish off this game. If he doesn't get a qualified ride, by the way, it's a double loss. Each team takes the L. Swearingen facing Super Trooper.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Dalen Swearingen had a great weekend. First win since his 2022 year. Big win for Dalen Swearingen. Made a great ride on smokestack in that championship round. That really, I feel like he had that fire relit last weekend.
Had not won an event since he won the World Finals event title the year he was world champ. Here he goes. This is his chance to give Carolina their first and only win of this mini season. Carolina with the walk-off win, as Swearingen didn't even really need to dip into the superhero well because he was just spot on that ride.
He was perfect right there on this bull. You know, Dalen Swearingen, as soon as this bull turns back, he was aggressive, showing the judges he was in control.
88.7, Coop. Darn good score.
Really good score. And Dalen Swearingen, man, you want to talk about a great weekend last weekend, kept the fire lit today, made a solid ride. This is the form that won him that world championship in 22.
Well, it took probably a lot longer than Carolina fans wanted, but they finally do get a win and have something to build on moving into what will be a very short offseason before all these teams get ready for the summertime. But we've got 4 teams, Coop, now who have been decided that are moving on to some very exciting playoff action.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting, and you know, we'll get to see the bracket here. But look, I really am excited to see Missouri, Florida go up against each other, and then you go down Austin and Kansas City. I mean, it's set up to be an exciting weekend in Albuquerque.
Listen, I'm with you. Yeah, we do not have to wait long, just 1 week before Missouri, the #1 seed. But let's remind some fans that may not have been tuning in. Missouri a perfect 4-0, but they only got 1 ride per game to win.
Well, it doesn't matter because they had the best record. They stepped up at the right time, and you know that's the name of the game. Get the wins, and they've done a good job at that.
Yeah, and I tell you what, so that'll be the game in Albuquerque. The other semifinal game, which has a lot of intrigue, right? Because these two teams, even though they're technically not the biggest of rivals, there's no love lost, is there, between the Austin Gamblers and the Kansas City Outlaws?
Yeah, there's no love lost. And I'll tell you what, it's when you've got any kind of rivalry, that's where this team series really gets special and brings out the best in everyone.
Well, the reason Kansas City gets to move on to the playoffs was earlier tonight. Casio Diaz, the 2024 world champ who's been their cornerstone, finally showed up.
He finally showed up, and this was clutch. I mean, this is exactly what they needed. Backed into a corner, only guy left, and hey, Casio Diaz stepped up, pulled him through.
So look, Diaz got to play the hero. Swearinger got to play the hero. Those are two guys that very much know how to wear the cape. But when it comes to round one, a guy that's just learning to be front and center in front of that camera, Hudson Bolton.
Yeah, well, really talented young guy, came back off an injury, showed up today, made a great ride, gets the round win. But hey, the guys that were supposed to step up, they did as well.
What a fun night here on Paramount Plus. Hudson Bolton, for the second time this season, wins a round and increases his chances at an event win. Well, tomorrow, make sure to join us again for PBR on Paramount Plus with the final rounds from Indy. For Cooper Davis, Matt West, and our entire PBR crew, I'm Craig Hummer. Thanks for watching.